Good evening, and welcome to your AI Daily Press Evening Podcast for August 9, 2025. Good evening, I'm Walter, and this is the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Tonight, we're summarizing 3 key stories that have been making headlines. Firstly, we've been following the escalating tensions in the Middle East over Israel's plan to take control of Gaza City. Global leaders have weighed in on the situation, with many condemning Israel's actions and calling for a peaceful resolution. The conflict remains highly volatile, but as we've seen time and again, there is always hope for a peaceful resolution. In other news, we took a closer look at President Trump's leadership style, which has been criticized for being unconventional and focused on secondary issues rather than policy priorities. While some defend the president's approach, others believe it's a distraction from more pressing issues. Finally, we reported on President Trump's plans to build a new ballroom on the White House grounds, which is expected to cost $200 million. The project has sparked debate about the president's priorities and use of resources. These stories and more will continue to unfold in the coming days and weeks. We'll be keeping a close eye on them and providing updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for joining us on this evening's edition of the AI Daily Press, and that's the way it is. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and then she'll know what's right now. Good evening, I'm Barbara, and welcome to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Tonight we're summarizing 3 key stories that have been unfolding around the world. Firstly, we looked at the proposed peace plan for Ukraine, with U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin set to meet in Alaska to discuss a potential deal. The international community is watching closely, hoping for progress towards resolving the ongoing conflict. In other news, Japan marked the 78th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki, serving as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of nuclear warfare. Survivors are still advocating for peace and an end to nuclear weapons. We also covered several other key stories, including wildfires in France, international condemnation of the proposed takeover plan for Gaza, the passing of U.S. astronaut Jim Lovell, and India facing pressure from the U.S. over tariffs. These stories remind us of the interconnectedness of our world and the need for continued dialogue, cooperation, and understanding among nations. Thank you for joining me on this evening's AI Daily Press podcast. Until next time, good night. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Good evening, and welcome to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. I'm your host, Louis. Today we're recapping the latest earnings reports from top companies, including Quanterix Corporation and CPI Card Group. Quanterix has reported a strong performance in the digital health sector, driven by its innovative Simoa platform and growing demand for personalized healthcare. The company is well positioned to capitalize on this trend, with a focus on precision medicine and biomarker discovery. CPI Card Group has also released its Q2 earnings report, showcasing progress in the payments industry. As consumers increasingly adopt digital payment methods, CPI Card Group is adapting its strategy to stay competitive, investing in emerging technologies like contactless payments and mobile wallets. Other notable earnings reports include Atlanta Braves Holdings, Inc., which saw revenue and net income increase year over year, driven by strong demand for tickets, concessions, and merchandise. Installed Building Products also reported a mixed bag of results, with revenue beating expectations, but earnings per share missing the mark. In global news, India's domestic-driven growth story remains a beacon of hope amidst trade tensions and geopolitical uncertainties. Experts expect India's consumption economy to pick up significantly in the second half of the year, driven by government capex, private sector investments, and rural and urban consumption recovery. We'll continue to bring you updates on these developments and more. For now, that's all for this evening's podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the AI Daily Press. Until next time, goodbye. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Good evening. and welcome to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. I'm your host, Carl. Tonight, we're summarizing 3 exciting stories that have caught our attention. Firstly, we explored the fascinating discovery of a new method for detecting pancreatic cancer using cell-free RNA detection. This breakthrough has shown promising results in identifying the disease in its early stages, offering new hope for patients at risk. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. Next, we celebrated the successful return of the Crew 4 astronauts, marking a significant milestone in space exploration. Their mission has contributed significantly to our understanding of the physiological and psychological changes humans undergo during long-duration missions, paving the way for future deep space endeavors. Lastly, we delved into the captivating story of the detection of exoplanets using advanced telescopes and machine learning algorithms. This innovative approach has opened up new possibilities for discovering life beyond our solar system, and we're eager to see what future discoveries will be made in this field. These stories showcase human ingenuity, collaboration, and our innate drive to explore and push the boundaries of what's possible. As we continue to advance in various fields, we're reminded that the universe is full of endless possibilities, and it's up to us to keep exploring, discovering, and pushing the frontiers of human knowledge. That's all for tonight's podcast. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the wonders of science, space, and medicine. Until next time, stay curious, keep looking up, and remember, the universe is full of endless possibilities. I'm Carl, and we'll see you tomorrow. Now for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Speaking to you tonight on the evening edition of the AI Daily Press. I'm Howard. We've got a trio of stories that highlight the excitement and unpredictability of the NFL. Firstly, a recent incident involving a physical altercation between players from 2 different teams has sparked conversations about player conduct and league discipline. The situation is complex, with various factors at play, including team dynamics, personal relationships, and the pressure to perform. As the league navigates this issue, it's essential to consider the well-being of all parties involved and the potential impact on the sport as a whole. In other news, our attention turns to the thriving high school football scene in Arizona. The 2020 recruiting class has produced an impressive array of talented athletes, including Bijan Robinson, Keely Ringo, Lathan Ransom, and Jacob Covington, who have gone on to excel at the next level. However, it's also worth noting that other classes, such as the 2027 group, are gaining attention with their own lineup of 4-star recruits. As we look to the future, it will be fascinating to watch these young athletes make their mark on the sport. Lastly, an ex-NFL GM has made a surprising pick for a Super Bowl favorite from the AFC West, choosing a team other than the Kansas City Chiefs. This prediction is based on various factors, including team dynamics, player injuries, and off-season changes. As the preseason games get underway, all eyes will be on the Chiefs, particularly their rookie offensive lineman, Josh Simmons, who has been making waves at training camp. The competition in the NFL is fiercer than ever, and it's anyone's guess how the season will unfold. That's all for tonight's report from the AI Daily Press. Thank you for joining me, and we look forward to bringing you more updates on the world of sports as the season unfolds. Until next time, goodbye. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Corral.
Thank you, Howard. Good evening. I'm Charles Curl, and welcome to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Tonight, we're summarizing 3 stories that have captured the nation's attention. First, we reported on a thrilling matchup between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays, where Mookie Betts' powerful home run propelled the Dodgers to victory. We also took a trip to Watkins Glen International, where NASCAR drivers are gearing up for the weekend's big race, and highlighted the inspiring story of young gymnast Lila Lauterbaugh, who upset the competition at the national championships. In more somber news, we covered 2 tragic bus accidents in Brazil and Kenya, which have left dozens dead and injured. Our thoughts are with the families and loved ones affected by these devastating crashes, and we urge motorists to exercise caution on our highways. Finally, we reflected on the importance of road safety and the need for vigilance on our roads. We'll continue to follow these stories and provide updates as more information becomes available. That's all for tonight's edition of the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, good night, and may we all remain safe on our journeys. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joan, and welcome to our evening podcast on AI Daily Press. We've got a few fascinating stories to recap for you tonight. First up, let's talk about the impact of rising costs on Italy's traditional summer culture. It seems that private beach concessions are becoming too pricey for many Italians, with some loungers and umbrellas costing over €10 per day. As a result, attendance has dropped by 10 and 15% in June and July compared to last year. Perhaps it's time for beach resort owners to rethink their pricing strategies? Next, we took a closer look at how COVID-19 has affected Italian beach towns. With tourist arrivals plummeting by over 70%, these charming destinations are struggling to stay afloat. However, there's hope on the horizon, with the Italian government introducing measures to support the tourism industry. So, if you're thinking of booking a trip to Italy, now might be the perfect time to do so and help support local businesses. And finally, we touched on a rather unexpected topic: the economic consequences of the high cost of living in Italy. It's not just about pasta and pizza, folks. The tourism industry is a significant contributor to Italy's economy, and its decline has far-reaching consequences for local communities and families. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to our evening podcast on AI Daily Press. Until next time, buonasera, and let's keep the conversation going. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Atanacher.
Thank you, Joan. Good evening, and welcome to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. This week, we've been exploring 3 fascinating stories that highlight the complex relationships between humans and the natural world. Firstly, we celebrated a conservation success story with the report on the reintroduction of wildlife in their natural habitats, highlighting the importance of preserving biodiversity and ecosystem balance. Secondly, we delved into the contentious issue of oil and gas drilling in the Arctic National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska. The Trump administration's plan to expand drilling has sparked fierce opposition from environmentalists, indigenous communities, and millions of people who have submitted comments during the public comment period. The potential consequences for the fragile Arctic ecosystem and the planet as a whole are alarming. Lastly, we examined the thought-provoking work of photographer Zed Nelson, whose book, The Anthropocene Illusion, challenges our perceptions of nature in the modern world. Nelson's photographs reveal a world where simulations and replicas of nature have become increasingly prevalent, raising important questions about authenticity, conservation, and our connection to the natural world. These stories remind us that our relationship with the environment is multifaceted and complex, and that we must continue to explore, question, and challenge our assumptions about the world around us. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of these pressing environmental issues. Until next time, good night, and let's work together to protect our planet for future generations. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David Atanacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.